Okay, we don't have a race channel just yet. What was that? Open this stuff. Okay, there we go. Wait, maybe there we don't go. Oh, maybe there we do go. Or not. Or yes? What the fuck? Did I just skip 2/3 of the credits? Oh my god. I think I just skipped all of the credits and went right to the ending screen, or the ending cutscene. I didn't even know that was an option. I remember last time I actually got this glitch to work. I skipped like a whole bunch of the broken graphic nonsense, and it just went straight into the ending. I just skipped the 2 longest sections of the ending cutscene, and it just shot me right to the very last segment of the ending. I don't know if there's any more favorable RNG in the world anymore. I think I might have just used it all up. Ow, dude. Maybe I'm like the only person that is still like actively messing around with this glitch. But I did not think that skipping 2/3 of the ending was even a possible outcome. Fuck me running. That means the tasks can be improved by a lot. It just needs to get this version of the glitch that cuts out 2/3 of the ending cutscene. Like, I can't... I can't go again. Have to just load up Super Metroid, I guess. See, who have I not played as in a while? Maybe Tetris Block? Maybe let's go with Shantae. Feel like it's been a little while since I've played as Shantae. Oh my god. Dude, how? Plunk. How is the fucking Dragon View glitch still throwing shit at me that I've never seen before? I don't get it. I'll accept it. I'll roll with the punches. But good goddamn. Sometimes that game just decides to do things, and I could have never in my life seen it coming. Oh, good. Idiots with hot takes about professional wrestling in my social media feed. Just what I needed to fucking see right now. Dude, I am so glad that I stopped giving any amount of a fuck about pro wrestling. I'm just glad that a lot of the guys in pro wrestling that I was a fan of ended up going to the big company and making a lot of money. I guess I should say one of the big companies and making a lot of money. But there is no one left. There is no one left in the business for me to give two shits about. I mean, I guess the girls in pro wrestling are still cute as a button, but that's also due to the fact that I can be a pig sometimes. Also, probably has a lot to do with the fact that I know for a fact that I'm older than all of them. Except like maybe two or three. Alright, this is all shit that I saw earlier today. Yo, what's up, Zookie Wookie? Don't mind me, just reviewing the dumpster fire that is my social media feed. What do we have on YouTube? Oh, Christ almighty. The Legends of Evantris crew are playing Peak right now. That's gonna be a shit riot. Nate from the internet doing something with a mysterious glowing liquid. How Ridiculous doing stuff with frisbees at a quarry. Oh yeah, and Tasting History. Making real English toffee from 1881. Gonna have to watch that one tonight. Adam Savage looking at samurai helmets. Jazza drawing Pokemon from only their shapes. Definitely got some stuff to watch after I'm done here tonight. What the hell's going on Twitch? Yogscast doing their Jingle Jam shit. MST3K and Rift Tracks. Author Blues is playing Adventure on the Atari 2600. Hell yeah. TJ doing Mega Man X 1 through 3 Matrix Rando. Captain Clever is doing some DOS games. Clage is doing his weekly SMZ3. Jorf is playing a game that I've never seen before with Twig. Looks like that might be interesting. Dude, it was a while back. I watched Twig do a blind race of some PS1 Barbie game that was way more entertaining than it had any right to be. No races in progress. I misspelled Super Metroid. How do you do that? While I still have a couple minutes to waste here. Yo, there's Tillamorph. Nice. Let's make mention of my Twitch recap for the year. Hours streamed 345 over a total of 72 streams. Streamed on 60 distinct days with 410 hours watched. My top category, of course, being Groovy Bunch of Games, in which I made the top 10%. My top stream viewership was 11. I received just about 6,500 chats. With my biggest fans being, in no particular order, Real Work, Insane Firebat, Tillamorph, Mert4, War Drinker, Golden Monkey, and Noramak Knife. I received 67 raids, 59 of them coming from Insane Firebat, 5 from Tillamorph, and 1 from P-Toil. Got 6 new followers over the year. What about as a viewer? Watched 451 hours across 328 days. Somehow made the top 10% for viewership of Retro, UFO 50, Metal Slug Tactics, and Dragon's Crown. Favorite streamer was Murphigator, which is no surprise to me. 375 hours watched, 21 chats sent, 60,470 channel points earned, with 60,000 of them being spent. and the rest of the list wasn't even close. And PJ to Caesar with 10 hours watched, Jorf with 9, Ness Cardinality with 7, and Walkenut with 5. My top emote was the middle section of a bunny emote that I got gifted from someone's channel. I really didn't think that I watched that much UFO 50. But I guess like all 9 hours, or most of the 9 hours that I watched from Jorf, was him playing UFO 50. It's a neat collection of games, but I'm still not convinced that it's a game that I need to buy. Maybe if it goes on like a really big sale at some point, it'd be something I would pick up, but and meaning to talk to your addiction to UFO 50. Leather glass. It's a hell of a color. It's just from everything I've seen of UFO 50, there's like a small handful of games that I would like. And then I just wouldn't play the others. So, not really on board with spending a whole lot of money for a game like that. That golf game. Now, there's a couple of golf games on UFO 50 that are kind of interesting. Anyways, I'll be right back. All right. Yeah, my watched games list in the recap would probably be a lot more colorful, but much like how I only stream to Groovy Bunch of Games, Murphigator almost exclusively just streams to retro. Otherwise, there'd be a whole bunch of like obscure arcade titles thrown in the mix. I don't remember if it was earlier this year. Probably was. When Murph was playing a lot of this arcade game called Lucky and Wild. Now that is a game. Period, end of sentence. That is a game of all time. It's an on-rails shooter where you are not only firing the gun, but you're driving the car. So you've got one hand on the steering wheel and one hand with the light gun. Which just sounds like the most bonkers shit in the world. Adventure Golf seemed like a new concept to me. If that's the UFO 50 game that I think it is, yeah, that one is very interesting to me. Telemorph is ready. Firebat has had some time to see what's going on, but it's ready up. This race will begin. In 3, 2, 1, let's go. Cultured sugar. I probably read that wrong. Nope, that says cultured sugar. My hair go crazy here. Catch that here in a second. $43.19. Sounds like something the lady would send me to the store for, and I'd stand in the baking aisle for 15 minutes before I call her asking where the hell it is. You're not wrong. So, what's the big dumb thing that I've done in video games since the last time I raced me some Super Metroid. Fun. Whoops. I think it's the fact that I beat my second playthrough of Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster. So the first playthrough I used 2 knights, a white mage and a black mage. And in the second run, I used a thief, a black belt, and 2 red mages. And I finally understand what I've been hearing about the black belt for all this time. The black belt is strong as fuck. This character can crank out like 2,000 fucking damage on a single attack. You hit him with haste, you hit him with temper, so that you boost the number of times he hits and the amount of damage that he does. You're taking down bosses within like 2 rounds. It's ridiculous. And this character is like unarmed and unarmored for the majority of the game. He's easily the strongest character class in FF1. It is just so unfair to the enemies in that game when you have a black belt in your party. I think when I had tried black belt in the past, on previous attempts to play through FF1, I just didn't get him high enough level. For some reason I don't feel bad for the enemies, even if it is unfair. This is true. I don't have a lot of sympathy for the enemies in that game, but still. Black Belt just does so much damage. It's kind of ridiculous. Damn it. I would need to go back onto that save file and double check how much of the bestiary I actually completed in that playthrough. Because I did, like, hang out in the floating fortress for like 30 minutes just to try to get Warmech to show up. Because I thought, surely there will be no more satisfying feeling in the world than just punching Warmech to death. And sure enough, was satisfying. I don't know if and or when I would do a third playthrough of FF1, because across my two parties that I've beaten the game with, I've used every single character. I've used every single class. And now that I've kind of figured out Final Fantasy 1, I'm not sure how many more repeat playthroughs I'm gonna do. As long as you have a spellcaster that can use haste and temper, that makes that game incredibly easy. And if you want to make the game easy with, like, melee characters, then you just grind. And that's why I had the experience levels set to 2 times, because I didn't want to spend more hours than necessary just grinding my characters. I knew I was going to have to do some grinding at the beginning of the game, but I didn't want to have to do a whole lot of it. And I found the 2x gold multiplier to be largely useless. Like, when you get to the Sky Fortress, Floating Fortress, you basically max out your money. If you're not already maxed out by the time you get there, you're maxed out by the time you leave. It might be interesting to do a playthrough with, like, a black belt and a black mage. Because one character is incredibly overpowered and the other character is kind of a glass cannon. Not because the black mage does a lot of damage and is really fragile. It's mostly just that he's really fragile and has access to those buffing spells. Got him. Get some, you big dumb bitch. Give me that suit. And I don't really have the motivation to jump into Final Fantasy 2 or 3. or 5. So I might be good on the pixel remasters for right now. I gotta say though, Final Fantasy 1 is a lot of fun. I really, really like that game. It's just for whatever reason, the NES version of that game always seemed kind of intimidating. And I can't really put my finger on a reason why NES FF1 seemed as intimidating as it did. I think a big part of it has to do with just how kind of archaic the NES RPGs were in that era. You know, I obviously had no problem with fuck that one that one NES RPG that I've played a couple times on stream, and that now I'm unable to remember the name of it. Extra aggravating because it's one of the Famicom games that I actually own a physical copy of. And I just can't remember the name of it. It mostly just has to do with the fact that I think, due to the limitations of the NES, I just don't. I don't have faith in the NES as a console for RPGs. I don't know. Because it's not like the RPGs on Super Nintendo were that much more advanced. I think console RPGs had just become a bit more standardized within that couple of years between the heyday of the NES and the SNES. And I cannot really speak at all about Sega RPGs because I've never really played one. And besides, like, the Shining series and Phantasy Star, don't exactly know where to look on the Sega consoles for an RPG. Good old Curse of Monkey Island. I don't know. At least part of me is thinking that at least for the remainder of the year, which is less than a month, that I don't really need to rush into my next multi-session RPG. Combined with the fact that I have a lot of PS2 RPGs that I need to crack into at some point, I'd probably be better off just doing that. Shit. But I don't know... Fuck. I don't know if I want to... play these games on PS2, like on the actual hardware, and then put up with some audio and video issues, or if I want to try to track down some ISOs for some of these games. My god, jump over the tiny fucking step, Shantae. I know for certain I've got one more non Super Metroid stream coming up in this calendar year. And that, of course, is my Christmas Eve playthrough of the Fireman. But yeah, at least for the next couple of weeks, I'm not exactly sure how much time I'm actively going to set aside. But that's not too terribly different from what I've already been doing, so it's not going to be some grand departure from what I've been doing. Please don't kill me. He almost did. I'll take my health bomb, thank you. Keep that please don't kill me complexion. Oh? I fucked up. No? I didn't fuck up. I don't know if I've seen that before. Because when I exited the pause menu, I was just basically holding left, so I'd immediately walk through the door. And the screen just did not fade back in. That was weird. Well, this is a cool piece of music. I don't remember this song from Machinarium. Machinarium is probably one of the biggest examples of a game that I have seen multiple times, but I've played extremely little of it. That's the ceiling. Good to know it's still there, I guess. Monkey. Oh no, dude. Telemorph tied to Ridley. Dang. Well, the future of my SRL points depends on me finishing the game. Hashtag not last. Hell yeah. My least favorite way to get not last. Oh, baby. Kind of a shame that the music is the best part of Battletoads and Battle Maniacs. Kind of a shame that the music is like the best part of almost every iteration of Battletoads. That's a franchise that had some promise. But for as much as I like games that offer variable playstyles, I think Battletoads tried to do too much. And that the difficulty level was a bit sharp. Okay. Also pretty sure that there's only been like 2 Battletoads games that haven't been like looked down upon. That being the original Battletoads and then Battletoads and Double Dragon. Of course, there is the arcade game. Battletoads Arcade is probably the best one out of the bunch. Because you can just credit feed and win the game. It's also a lot of fun. And it sticks more to just the traditional beat 'em up style than, you know, having turbo tunnels and snake platforming and the tower descents. And because Battletoads Arcade was not finished, it doesn't have a ridiculously convoluted and overly powered Dark Queen final boss fight. It's been like the one big takeaway I've had from the Battletoads franchise is that the Dark Queen is just one cheap bitch. Not Not a fan of console games that have arcade levels of difficulty. Arcade levels of difficulty are fine if it's an arcade game. Because you can just put another quarter in the machine, and it's fine. Which is the reason why I like the arcade version of Bionic Commando as much as I do. Like, Biocom Arcade is cheap as fuck sometimes. But it's okay because you can just put another quarter in the machine. Or for me, I just hit the insert coin button. But when you run into a game that's that difficult and you have a set number of lives and continues, that takes the fun out of it. Then it just becomes a test of patience. And I don't necessarily enjoy testing my patience with video games. Spiral Knights. I've played Spiral Knights before. I seem to remember it being a free-to-play game. Let's see, what else has been noteworthy over the past week or so? One of the channels I've been following lately on YouTube, named A Bard's Ballad, has recently started putting out videos from his playthrough of Elder Scrolls II Daggerfall. So I've been enjoying seeing what actual Daggerfall looks like and kind of comparing it in my head to the Daggerfall mod for Skyrim. And of course, I unfortunately haven't heard anything more about Skyblivion or Skywind. Both mod projects have just kind of released a handful of screenshots since October, which in the case of Skyblivion gives me very little hope that they're actually going to get that mod pushed out in the next 20 some odd days. I really wish that they would not have tried to put a release date on that mod. Because most likely they're not going to meet that self-imposed release window. And it's probably going to dishearten some people. with stuff like that, I really wish they would just give you progress reports. So, you know, hey, we're this percentage of the way done with this part, and this part. But don't try to hold yourselves to a particular date or any kind of particular release window. Because it is a fan-made volunteer thing. You know, there's absolutely no pressure on these guys to release this product, except for pressure that they put on themselves. But that's exactly what they did. I'm pretty sure that Skywind has not announced any kind of a release window for that mod. Even the I don't remember the name of it. The other big one. The group that did the Bruma mod. Tamriel Expanded or Tamriel something. Tamriel Reimagined, Remade, something. The project that looks to include all the other regions of Tamriel in Skyrim's engine. Really thankful they haven't tried to say, oh yeah, we're gonna have this shit done in a couple months. Because projects like that are just fucking huge. And you have a workforce behind it that is not employed by you. It's a bunch of volunteers that are offering up their free time. Dead. I've also been seeing stuff off and on, at least on Twitter, about a couple different Fallout 4 mods. I think the one that I've been paying attention to has been the one where they're trying to remake Fallout 3 in Fallout 4's engine, which could be really cool. I'd be willing to give that mod the same benefit of the doubt that I would give to Skyblivion. You know, hey, maybe I'll like this game more if it's in an updated engine. That being said, for as much as I talk shit about Fallout 3, I have had fun with a playthrough of that game. I think it was even on stream when I ran into this this entry on a data terminal about some food dispensing machine in some facility malfunctioning, and the result was the food paste that it ejected was like a different color. And for whatever reason, that terminal entry really made me laugh. Like, it wasn't even something that was like intended to be really that funny. But that was the moment that I had with Fallout 3 where I was just like, okay, we're having some fun now. I'm trying to remember if I had a moment like that with New Vegas. Or if I'm just the one off-brand shithead that didn't like New Vegas. I don't know. I still have the opinion that those games tried to do way too much with the technology they had at the time. It's a similar concept to something I've seen and heard about in like visual effects for movies. You know, there's a reason why we had to wait until the 2000s for the Lord of the Rings movies. They could not have done anything even remotely close to what they ended up doing at any earlier point in time. The technology just wasn't there yet. And that's the attitude that I think I'm always going to have about Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, and Oblivion. Of course, the other thing about those games is that there's so many people out there that want to claim that those games are some of the best video games ever made. And I, of course, disagree, and I assume that an attitude like that is just born from having a small sample size. But again, it's something I said way back when I was having this conversation with Ponk. If people were coming out of the woodwork saying that those games were their favorite games of all time, I wouldn't say boo to a goose. It's the fact that people want to pound their chest and say, oh, this is the greatest game of all time. Which is something that is completely subjective. And I've always taken issue with people that want to try and create objective criteria for something that is as highly subjective as video games. Which is one of the things I was talking about when Ponk and I had our discussions. It's like, if we want to talk about sales numbers, that is the only objective measure of success for a video game. You know, reviews in game magazines, that's someone's opinion. That's subjective. And you can't have two lists of subjectively ranked video games from two different people that are going to be completely the same. It's just not the way that that kind of shit works. You know, someone out there is going to say that fucking Super Metroid is the greatest video game ever made. And I don't know if I can necessarily agree or disagree with that. Because, well, if you're looking for an RPG, then no, Super Metroid's not the greatest game of all time because it's not an RPG. If you're looking for first-person shooters, can't sit here and say that Super Metroid is going to be high on that list because it's not a first-person shooter. And I, of course, remember back to, I think it was a top 100 games of all time list that Electronics Gaming Monthly put out. Electronic Gaming Monthly? There we go. And there's 100 entries on the list, and not a single Kirby game on a list of top 100 video games. You know what game squeaked in at the bottom of the list ahead of any and every Kirby game? Fucking Sydney, Australia Olympics 2000. Or whatever the shit that game was called. It was a Dreamcast game made around the 2000 Olympics from Sydney, Australia. That makes the top 100 games of all time, but not a single Kirby game makes the list. I understand that Kirby games are not difficult. But Kirby games have one thing going for them. They are easy to beat, but tough to complete. %ing a Kirby game and just beating it are two completely different things. 5741, that's an ugly time. I wish that was my dot done time instead of my dot time time. But it's to be expected. I have been nattering on this whole time. And even though when it came time for Game Informer to do their big top 50 or their big top 100 games of all time list, I agreed with it more than EGM's list, but I still remember disagreeing with it in the fact that there's still no Kirby games in a top 50 or top 100 games of all time, and we're just going to completely turn our nose up at the entire Kirby franchise. To be fair, though, if I'm remembering right, the number one greatest game of all time, according to Game Informer's list, was NES Metroid. Get in the boat, you big dummy! 59, 53, cut the one, GG. That's the first time I've gotten something besides 57 in the early race in a little while, so I have to actually erase that time off my dry erase board. For a couple weeks there, I was just leaving the 57 and writing in different seconds. Discover the world of cutting one. Okay, this marker is drying out a bit too much. I think we gonna need to get a new dry erase marker. Consistency of getting good times has been improving. Yeah. I have been getting better slowly but surely. Which, of course, slowly but surely is how these kind of things are going to happen when you don't practice. But when basically muscle memory can carry you to a sub 1 hour run with some degree of consistency, that's really what I've been going for. And especially after I got that 5646 PB a while back. I really haven't seen any reason for me to try to real aggressively push down the time on this run. Because it's been a couple times with Super Metroid where I have performed far better than I thought I would. It's more just like I want to keep that up as opposed to pushing the time down. Air Force! But it's getting to the point with this route where I know that if I want another PB, I am really going to need to get the stars to line up. You need good boss fights, you need good map navigation, and those things don't always coexist in the same runs for me. Hand me my top hat. By top hat, I mean my notebook that has my panic notes. Now, do I go for the genies or do I go for the booby traps? Booby traps is a much longer, it's a much longer route. Why don't we try that one? It's been a while since I've done it. Gotta say. So I haven't really done much more thinking about the different routes for Panic. All right, now I need button 8. I always need button 8 in this room. Now we need 2 again. And then our first booby trap is on button 4. What are we blowing up? Oh no. That's not the Taj Mahal. What is that? The Diet building. Diet? Diet? It's pronounced diet. Five. Then, oh god, the skydiving screen. Number 4. This is the room where one of the gags is that the kid's guts spill out from his parachute. Slowly but surely. Button 8. Now we have kind of a weird one here. Mid. Left. Middle bottom? No. Okay, so it's just back to the original one. I don't think that's going to throw me off of my route. It might. It did. Boy, that didn't take long. I have no idea where I'm at that point. That is a long enough route that I don't think I'll be able to get through it. Do I have any percent written down in here somewhere? Or is it just the 3 goofy routes? Yeah, shit, I think it's just the 3 goofy routes. I know I've got notes for Panic written down somewhere besides this notebook. Is it in my Skyrim notebook? It's either in the Skyrim notebook or it's in the Shadowgate notebook. Boy, there's like next to nothing in this Skyrim notebook. It's one page dedicated to the Fortify Restoration loop, and that's like it. Well, it's not in that notebook either. Fantastic. Um, not even sure there's anything in here that I want to play. Dude, I'm so disappointed that there's like 8 different arcade games that I should have access to, but for whatever reason, this version of MAME just does not recognize that they exist. I think I'm just gonna fall back on watching a video game play itself. I might go grab myself a little snack in the meantime. Because I don't think I've done a very good job of putting food in my belly today. So I think I'm going to go do that. I will be right back. we go. Didn't want to gorge myself. That'll be for after the late race. No, I should probably play through the story mode of Super Bomberman 2 at some point. It's familiar enough to the original Super Bomberman that I don't think there's like lots of new mechanics that I would need to learn. So I think it's 5 that has the Carabombs, which are like the, for lack of a better phrase, they're the mounts that exist in Bomberman. But man, I don't know. I don't know if I'm ever going to have a better Bomberman experience than Bomberman Quest. That game was so fucking good. God damn. Black Bomber just running away with it here. No one can stop the Black Bomber. Where's my games I've beaten notebook? Do I have Skyblazer in here somewhere? Ah, Chronicles of the Radio War. That was that NES RPG that I couldn't remember the name of. Okay, I think Skyblazer is just a game that I beat before I started keeping track of things in this notebook. So I'm almost positive that I have actually beaten this game, but it has been a very long time. I think I ended up playing through this game probably around the same time as I was watching OmniGamer doing speedruns of this. And that has definitely been a little while since that happened. One of the small handful of Super Nintendo games done by Sony ImageSoft. Okay, so Sony ImageSoft was the producer, not the developer. And I want to look up the name of the actual developer, because they're the ones I'm thinking of. Ukiyotoi. Ukiyote. Consumer Game Software Development Company. That's the one. They did Hook. They did Skyblazer. They did Todd McFarlane's Spawn, the video game. They did Samurai Showdown 3. They did Metal Slug. King of Fighters 97. Metal Slug First Mission. Metal Slug Second Mission. Bust-A-Move Pocket. Punky Skunk. Handful of good ones. Alright, I should probably get Hex Chat looked at. I don't know what this giant dinosaur has to do with anything in Soldiers of Fortune. I think it was just a cool picture that the devs wanted to put in there. Also had this game on Steam, where it is under its normal name of the Chaos Engine. It is another game that desperately cries out for modern dual stick shooter controls. Much like Earthworm Jim, it has hard directional fire and fire in 8 directions, and it would really benefit from having truly circular aiming. As it stands, it's not that bad of a game. Like, with how popular dual stick shooters were for a little while, a couple years back, Soldiers of Fortune really does kind of stand out. 4 out of 5 dentists recommend truly circular aiming. That's right. So I think I have an idea as to why this Popeye video game never made it to America. Because in the early to mid 90s, Popeye was kind of a dead franchise. Not like it's had some kind of a resurgence since then. It's still kind of a dead franchise. And I'm pretty sure, unless something has changed, that the old Flesher Studios run of Popeye cartoons, the old black and white ones, pretty sure those are public domain. And you can rebroadcast them without worrying about copyright laws. It's a fairly competent video game, not gonna lie. But it's presented in the same way that the Flintstones game on Super Nintendo is presented. That being a board game. And even though the sprite work in this game and in that Flintstones game are it's really good sprite work. But the fact that it's presented as a board game, I don't know, seems like it'd be a bit of a barrier to entry. Compared to, like, was it Popeye 2 on the Game Boy? Which is just like a straight up platformer. This game does leave a little something to be desired. But that Game Boy game, oh my god. Absolute diamond in the rough. General Bunzo. Yeah, I have no idea who, like, the majority of these characters are. Popeye and Olive Oil are a given. Pretty sure Bluto's in here somewhere. I don't know if Pappy and Sweet Pea are in this, but they might be. Oh, Wimpy is probably in here somewhere as well, that's right. There's Bluto. Except he's called Brutus. Okay, there's Wimpy and Sweet Pea. Even a longer opening cutscene than I thought this game had. Let's see here. How do I spell? Don't need to know how to spell when I can just hit the left button a couple times. Wow, this game came out in '92? There's a lot of video games that came out on the Super Nintendo after the year 1992. And not many of them looked better than the Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse. This is what Capcom and Disney used to be capable of. Can't think of very many Disney Capcom games that I like a whole lot more than Magical Quest. Like, I love me some DuckTales. But Magical Quest is just on a different level. Oh, wow. Unless it's got some other words in the title, I apparently don't have a version of the G Gundam game on here. A bit unfortunate. Also not sure why there are so many smut ROMs for the Super Nintendo. You want to talk about a product not having the technology behind it? Holy shit. That is not the one I meant to click on. Pretty Lightfoot is kind of a weird one. I don't really remember seeing Artie Lightfoot in Nintendo Power. Just about every other game that I bring up in these kind of low attention span clip shows like this, I have some recollection of seeing just about all of these games in Nintendo Power. This game, Tin Star, is no exception. And it looks like it does not have a demo reel. That's disappointing. It seems like Tin Star would have been a perfect game for either the Super Nintendo Mouse or the Super Scope 6. But I am unsure if it utilized either of those peripherals. Okay. Looks like it's up to me. Make sure I have it fucking spelled right. Yeah, I've always done, like I said this just last week, I've always ever done training mode in this game. Yeah, you have to do the Hadouken input in order to use your mutant powers, and I was never really very good at the Hadouken input. However, in training mode, you can also just hit X. Alright, let's get some manner of Super Metroid loaded up. Who do I use? Who indeed do I use? Do I have a Christmas themed hat here? No. Cacodemon. Off-screen second opinion. Brad Fang. So Cacodemon it is. Cacodemon, unfortunately, kind of falls apart with other palettes. It's really kind of unfortunate. It's a good-looking sprite, unless you try to give it custom colors. It's kind of like Fusion Samus. And since I'm going to well and truly put the cart in front of the horse here, I am going to assume, unless Firebat shows up, that I'm going to be in the same situation as I was in last week, where I'm most likely just going to end up doing a solo run. It is always possible that Nintoaster or someone else could show up, but I'm not going to hold my breath on that. Oh wow. I actually get all the way through my request line? Or did I just forget to put in requests? The 360 spin gets me. Yeah, it's a good one. It's one of the few characters that has a twisting spin jump instead of a somersaulting one. And it looks good. I guess the Cacodemon wouldn't have any naturally occurring sprites of it being, like, upside down. But it would have pre-existing sprites of it facing in different directions. Oh, someone's here. Hey, it's Firebat. I didn't join my own race. So I know that the girl from Celeste has a twisting spin jump. I forget who else does. Oh, the pair of robots, Infi and Nitty. I guess his Morph Ball, Cacodemon's Morph Ball, does do a roll. Oh god. I do appreciate Cacodemon evolving into a pain elemental for Gravity Suit. Easily one of the most iconic enemies from Doom is the Cacodemon. Pain elementals are just absolute jerks. I think not only do they spawn in lost souls when you kill them, but I think they can also just spawn them in while they're alive. Anyways, I will be right back. Radical Bean. That's got to be some weird shade of green. Well, I see Firebat in here, but he hasn't actually joined the race yet. Hey, but I see him playing squid slots in my chat. What's up, Firebat? Freaking Sam and Max hit the road. Never expected that game to be as good as it was. For a point-and-click adventure game that I never played as a kid, it sure found its way into my rotation really quickly. Did not take me very long at all to learn that game. So, I think it's time for me to ask the question, Firebat, are you going to be joining the race, or do I need to get a timer? I'm good regardless of the answer. Just curious. Hey, there we go. We getting there. Hey, it's all right, man. Have fun. Luck good. Thank you, sir. Same to you. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. It's a race. Let's 4253. Huh. This is not the song I was thinking of being called Hydra Marshes from Chrono Cross. I was thinking of that other swamp area, which I think has different music than this. Oh yeah, so I thought of a potential new command for Spazer Crab based off of a YouTube video that I was watching a couple days ago. Apparently, there is a subreddit that has a whole bunch of hilariously worded video game patch notes. And I was thinking about heading over there, grabbing a whole bunch of random patch notes from random video games, and having Spazer Crab repeat them at random. I forget the whole I forget the whole patch note, but there was one that the guys in the video were mentioning from Stardew Valley, in which the way they worded the patch note was just so fucking funny. They're like, fixed a Geneva Convention violation. I think there was one for one of the Sims games where it's like, fixed a bug where an on fire character would be forced into the like high school or college graduation cutscene while still on fire. There was one for The Sims where they're like, you can no longer attempt to romance the Grim Reaper. It's like absolutely zero context for some of these goofy patch notes. So I may have to see if I can track down that subreddit and then see if it's actually a funny enough thing to do to make a new command for Spazer Crab along those lines. It's really one of the first, like, kind of new ideas I've had for something Spazer Crab can actually do. Also kind of feel like I need to get rock, paper, scissors going again. So I like that one. But honestly, it took me so long to get off my ass and get Spazer Crab to do most of the things that he used to do. But I don't know how likely I am to actually follow through with it. Wonder if I've written any good ones for Airmac. See, it was mostly patch notes for one of the Sims games that was giving some of the most comedic patch notes. Something like decrease the odds of your child accidentally drowning during a play date. Again, the guys in the video that I was watching were mostly cherry picking. Something about your character's child damaging themselves in order to spite the character because they were rivals. Don't even remember what game that one was. My goodness, am I the only person requesting music on game tonight? What a rare occurrence that is. I'm assuming this subreddit is going to be easy enough for me to find. Probably just have to do a Google search for patch notes, like video game patch notes subreddit. You see, I took the advice of my brother to heart decades ago when he was telling me how to properly use 4chan. He said, go there for pictures, don't read any of the comments. I have applied that attitude to just about every single public message board style website that I've ever gone onto. It's too soon. But yeah, especially 4chan. I used to go onto their high-resolution wallpaper board all the time. Because they had a lot of really cool high-resolution wallpaper images. Then also quickly came to understand that reading the comments on sites like that is quite possibly the worst thing that you could possibly ever do. Possibly. There's a reason why one of their header images is Peter Parker saying that he's almost enjoying how angry he's getting from being on the internet. Also because those websites are mostly populated by edgelords and miscreants. And I would rather just look at big, pretty pictures. Excuse me. Tanku. Damn you, Cacodemon. Get your fat ass up there. Cool. Glad I was holding a charge and still got smacked in the face by that guy. Because Cacademon's too dumb to spin. The gun animation on this sprite is like unnervingly smooth. I guess since not really too much else of the sprite is animating during that run cycle, put all of the attention into that gun movement. Supers, please. I know there's more than just one of you guys popping out of this thing. Thank you. More than one of you at a time can drop a super. Hit that W. Getting nervous, man. The odds of getting a yellow ice beam are pretty high. Baby. Got some good shit coming up next. Okay. We got orange ice beam. We can deal. No, Pachyderm, please. Oh, baby. Good old Tyrion. I always name it as my favorite shmup. Mr. Krabs. No, dude. Got no drops. Just fucking nothing. Crouching too soon. Drop's been really bad on your end. Damn, that sucks. $34 energy going into gravity. Holy shit. Okay. right fast. Come on. Got him. So I should take a big boy shot and then a handful of missiles. Need them soups. Oh, that was way too high. In hand. Apparently, I'm not the only person requesting music tonight on game. Rabbity Suet. Appropriately enough, we have the River of Blood back there. Okay. There we go. Not sure how a couple of these aren't hitting them. Shit. Dude, come. Oh my god, I missed so many shots. Oh no. Okay. That ended up working out. Dude. Plasma! I didn't get it. Keep crouching too goddamn soon on these shine attempts. Yeah, you're not dead yet. Now you're dead. How are you not dead? Now you're dead. Get back down here and be dead. Sack of hammers. No, and he's down, dude. Fuck everything. Dude, come on. No, dude, god damn it. And there's Firebat taken first with a 48-45. GG. Don't please. I shouldn't just run past a super missile drop, even though my ammo is looking good right now. Don't want the game to get any ideas. Check out that full house squid. Squid house. Okay. And you're dead. Woo. Not Timmy. What's up with that derpy face? Why he do that? Blah 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 blah. 56-44. It's probably going to be a really high 58. – . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . Boing. Get me out of here. I hit shift. 58, 52. 1 minute and 1 second faster. Didn't even have to redraw any numbers. r/patch notes. Well, there is a Reddit page for that. Since I don't feel like navigating that site. PC Gamer, the funniest patch notes in PC gaming. Babies don't start strapped with a knife. Too Big Moon has been readjusted. Police station cannot be destroyed by a crossbow anymore. Grenades do not remain stuck in walls when launched. Prisoners do not remain stuck in walls when delivered. Trees have collision. Celibate characters should no longer be worried about their conjugal love life. Air Force! No longer possible for AI to plot to assassinate self, unless they are a lunatic. Stopped vampires from pinning their crimes on babies and children. Stopped ghosts from maintaining secret identities. Made strangulation take less time. Adjusted value of bees. Become enemies with child wish no longer appears. Fish are no longer duplicated in the fridge when moving homes. Oh, here's the one. Sims can no longer try for baby with the Grim Reaper. Fixed an issue that could cause the time traveler to catch on fire and not be able to put out. Removed a renegade semicolon to appease the code gods. You are no longer able to get stuck between the bookcase and a chair in Dracula's castle. Earthworms are now stackable. Zucchini can be force-fed. Grass runs twice as fast as it used to. Doors will no longer fly away. Colors are now illegal. Fixed rare instance of couriers who would appear only dressed in a hat. Thanks for the race. Kill the frames and frame the saves. Oh man. We did it. We, in fact, did it to the done, and done to the did it, and all of the above. My goodness. So that wraps things up for tonight. As always, a big shout out to Honk for hanging out and doing some gaming tonight. We finished off We Were Here, and we're starting to dive into Ib and Ob, which is a cute little puzzle platformer. I am really hopeful that Split Fiction gets its shit together, and Honk and I will be able to get back to that. But just in case that doesn't happen, we've still got a whole bunch of remote play and otherwise online games to try our hands at. And of course, a big thank you to Tillamorph and Insane Firebat for the races here tonight. Always a lot of fun. And for everybody else, thanks for stopping by, thanks for hanging out, thanks for watching. We'll be back next week with more of the same. Until then, I'll catch you later. See ya!